Saturn was supposed to be a different kind of car company, and for GM, it certainly was to start with. Officially created in 1985 as an employee-owned independent subsidiary, with their own plant, workforce, dealer network, and developing their own car. A car designed specifically to compete with imports from Japan.
It's not like it had 6 wheels or nuclear power or something. But what it is the first car made in this country for about as long as anyone can remember. That's been started from the beginning, from scratch. The whole idea of the Saturn was to start the whole process over, to start all over again with everything we'd learned.
The first car, the compact S series, arrived in 1990 as a 91 model, using an advanced space frame with dent-resistant polymer body, which is to say, plastic, offered as the SL sedan, SW wagon, and SC coupe. The cars were 176 inches long on a 102-inch wheelbase, except the coupe, which was on a 99-inch wheelbase, and weight was 2,300 to 2,500 pounds. Power came from a 1.9-liter overhead cam inline 4 with 85 or 123 horsepower, getting up to 34 miles per gallon on the highway. Trim levels were simply base, 1, and 2. With no haggle pricing starting around $8,000, the cars quickly became a success, with first-year sales just under 50,000, and climbing to well over 250,000 within just a few years, gaining a near cult-like following. There was a special Homecoming Edition Saturn for 1994, nicely equipped and only in pearl white with black badges. Then in 1996, Saturn dealers began leasing the EV1, although it was not badged as a Saturn, but simply as a GM. It was, however, the first mass-produced, purpose-built electric vehicle of the modern era, and a flop as far as GM was concerned. The Saturn sedan and wagon were also restyled for 1996, and the coupe for 1997, with minor improvements, just in time for the cars to start being exported, including to Japan in 1999. There would also be Red Hot and White Hot Edition coupes for 98 and 99, and another Homecoming Edition for 99. This time in cool mint, the year that Saturn would introduce its second model, the mid-sized L series, showing a decrease in Saturn's independence. It was based on the Opel Vectra. Available as a sedan or wagon, it was 190 inches long on a 107-inch wheelbase and weighed 2,900 to 3,200 pounds, offered with a base 2.2-liter inline 4 with 135 horsepower, or an optional 3.5-liter V6 with 185 horsepower. Although it was critically acclaimed, reliability issues would plague the car, hurting Saturn's reputation. The S Series would have its styling refreshed in 2000 for the third and final time, and there would be an anniversary edition for 2001, as well as a yellow limited edition, sometimes referred to as the Bumblebee Edition. A third model was introduced in 2002, a compact SUV developed by Saturn and sold as the View. It was 181 inches long on a 107-inch wheelbase, also initially powered by a 2.2-liter 4 and 3-liter 6, and soon the platform would be shared with other GM divisions, from Chevrolet and Pontiac to Opel and Vauxhall. The S Series would be replaced by the all-new Ion in 2003 on an all-new platform that would once again be shared throughout GM. It was bigger at 185 inches long on a 103-inch wheelbase and 2,600 to 3,000 pounds. Initially powered by a 2.2-liter with 140 horsepower, offered as a 4-door sedan or 4-door quad coupe with rear half doors, and trim levels were now 1, 2, and 3. It was soon offered in a Redline edition with a supercharged 2-liter producing 205 horsepower, a car capable of a low 15-second quarter mile and speeds more than 145 miles an hour. The View would also get a Redline edition, with a 250 horsepower 3.5-liter Honda V6, and the L Series would get a facelift the same year. In 2004, Saturn would fully lose its independence to become just another GM division, signaling the beginning of the end, and there was talk of merging the brand with Oldsmobile, but Oldsmobile was discontinued instead. The Ion sedan would get a facelift for 2005, and it would be the final year of the L Series. But Saturn would get a version of the generic GM minivan, sold as the Relay. A 2.4-liter 4 with 170 horsepower would become available on the Ion for 2006, and with the facelift of 2007, both bores gained 5 horsepower. It would also be around this time that Saturn would discontinue the use of plastic body panels, and the View Green line would become the first vehicle with GM's mild hybrid system, using an alternator that doubled as an electric motor. It would also be the year that Saturn got a replacement for the L Series, as the Aura. It was 191 inches long on a 112-inch wheelbase, weighing 3,800 pounds, with a standard XE using a 3.5-liter V6 with 224 horsepower, and the sportier XR using a 3.6-liter V6 with 252 horsepower, and the Green Line Hybrid using a 2.4-liter 4 with 164 horsepower. The Opel GT appeared as the Saturn Sky, a sporty roadster with a choice of 4-cylinder engines, a 2.4-liter with 177 horsepower, or a 2-liter turbocharged Redline with 260 horsepower, a sub-14-second car capable of 155 miles an hour. And the Opel Astra would be imported as the Saturn Astra to replace the Ion, with very few changes inside or out. There would also be a new crossover mid-sized SUV on the standard GM platform, sold as the Outlook. But even with all the new models, Saturn sales were declining, quickly falling below 200,000 and then 100,000. So when GM took the government bailout and was forced to reduce the number of brands, Saturn was one of the first to go, which was perhaps inevitable once it was decided that Saturn should be its own brand instead of just a model, as the cost of creating and then maintaining Saturn as a completely independent brand was a bit ambitious, meaning that it was probably unlikely it would have survived as long as it did. So as always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment below and like and subscribe.